and welcome to the Author Roundup, a special segment of the Book Connection Show where we meet up and coming indie authors and talk to them about their recently released books.
Welcome to another episode of the Author Roundup. I'm your host, Jenny. Paris is on the bucket list of a lot of travelers around the world, the ultimate dream destination for most. But for many, its public transport system can turn that dream into a maze of stairs and confusing stations. That's where today's guest comes in. Sharon du Toit, a registered nurse from South Africa with a great sense of humor and a go-getter attitude, wrote a book to help travelers skip the confusion, the stairs, and time-wasting detours, making Paris accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Whether you're elderly, traveling with kids, or have challenges with mobility. Please welcome Sharon du Toit, author of Timeless Travel in Paris. Sharon, we're delighted to have you on the show.
Thank you, Jenny.
I'm so excited to talk to you about your book. Like I've said to you earlier, this is a unique book. Okay, so what
It
inspired
is.
you to? Yeah, so what inspired you to write Timeless Travel in Paris? Was there like a personal experience that pushed you to take on this project?
Yes, I had a knee replacement and loving to travel to Paris. I know all the stairs that they've got in their stations. I thought, how can I help other people and myself, obviously? So I wrote the book to assist myself and other people who have mobility issues or
Mhm.
people in wheelchairs or with strollers or, those carry-on bags that's got the little wheels. Yeah, so it's for me and for other people to assist everyone.
Mhm. So it was a first-hand experience for you. Like you were able to really go through the pains of traveling in Paris. How familiar were you with Paris public transport before writing the book? And how much deeper did you actually have to go during your research?
I've traveled to Paris quite a few times in the last 20 years, and I love Paris. So there was a lot of research that I had to do, and the stations are basically the same, but there are a few differences. So I thought if I could set it out so that everybody can understand much better what every station is, how can I say, what it gives you. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So you really had to, go through a deeper research other than the experience that you've had just to get everything together.
Yeah, there were quite a few sites that I had to do research on to get everything perfect
Mhm.
and to make sure that it was correct. I
Mhm.
don't want anybody standing in front of a station they can't use their wheelchair there. Maybe
Mhm.
if somebody throws them off the stairs, I don't know, they might get down, but yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was worth it.
Mhm. I understand. So when you created this guide, because it's a guide for travelers, did you have a specific reader or traveler in mind while you were writing or creating your book?
Yes, especially myself, because I want to use the book when I do go again. With my knee replacement, I'm still using crutches and it is difficult to walk stairs. So I will definitely use my book myself. But mostly for people in wheelchairs or with disability problems, they think that they can't go to Paris because it's difficult to use the stations or to move around from one point to the other. So I wanted them to know that it's possible. You can do it. You
Mhm.
don't have to let your physical ability be a mental problem. So it's for them as well, yeah. And travelers who want to save time and energy.
Mhm.
If you use a train station with a lot of stairs, it takes a lot of time getting into the station and out again. It's a waste of time and your feet. By 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in Paris time, you're so tired you don't want to sightsee anymore. You just want to go back to the hotel. And yeah, that's why I thought it might help them as well. Get a station that's better suited for your needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're a traveler, even those with, those who have a lot of kids with them, perhaps, who are busy and don't
Yes.
have time to, spend too much time trying to think about what train to take, or, what are the stations that would be easy to navigate and all that. And the last thing that you want to do when you're traveling is to spend too much time, getting lost trying to figure your way out. So your book is really, very helpful for people like that. So, Sharon, you said earlier that you had to do a lot of research. How did you gather such detailed information? Because everything is there, down to station exits, escalators, lifts, toilet availability. Were there any challenges you encountered during your research of Paris transport system?
There's a lot of different sites that I had to use for my information. And the problem is it doesn't give you everything that you need. So there was the one site might just give me the lines, the other site might give me the toilets, public toilets. But the reason I did the toilets inside the station is because as soon as you stop there in the station, you feel, okay, now I need to go. I've got a few minutes to spend some time with, yeah. And not all the stations do have, and with me having a nervous bladder sometimes, I need the toilet quite a lot. So it's easy then for the people to see, okay, it is possible. While you're waiting, go and you spend your time there, or if you might need it, especially for the wheelchair-bound people. There is public toilets outside, but if you don't know where to go, it's difficult to find it. So why not just go to a station and you've got all your needs met there? So yeah, go to the one that you can use everything that you need.
Mhm.
Yeah, but doing the research on the sites is very difficult because you go into a site and then have to go into another part of the site, and at the end you forget where you went into in the first place. So that was what I wanted to bring everything together to make it much easier.
So when you were doing your research, Sharon, how often did you find inconsistencies between what's on the maps, or the other documents, or perhaps your other sources for the research, versus what's actually available and usable on the ground, especially for people with mobility issues?
There was a lot of inconsistencies that I found, especially on some sites that wasn't the RATP, which is a more, I would say you can rather trust that site better. That
Mhm.
I saw that they said was wheelchair accessible, and because I know most of the stations, especially the big ones, I knew it was not true what they said on that site. So it was a lot of having to go onto different sites and make sure that what I remember was the truth. Yeah, so it was difficult. It wasn't an easy task.
Yeah, and I mean, your book would piece them all together for travelers, travelers who are first time travelers in Paris wouldn't have any idea of what's actually on the ground, right? So, I mean, your book will be very helpful because all their only source would be, perhaps the information that they read about or research about through the internet and all that. So, Sharon, you also put a lot of emphasis on accessibility, mostly because of your experience or your condition as well. Why do you think accessibility gets overlooked in traditional travel guides?
There's a lot, sorry, there's so much to mention in a travel guide. It's not easy to put the whole, let's say, like the whole of Paris into one book. It's impossible. There's just so much to see and so much to do. But the thing is, they don't cater for disabled people in a normal travel guide. They don't see a disabled person as someone wanting to travel and not being able to. They cater for people with normal mobility, with fast moving pace. It's a fast moving pace in a train station. They don't think about that problems. And with this fast moving life that we have, We need to assist everybody, even if they have a disabled problem or disability problem. I'm sure that they would love to travel and see Paris, and I want to make that possible for them.
And that's very possible through the book that you published. How do you think Paris compares to other major cities in terms of accessible transport infrastructure?
I think since the Olympics in 2024, they've changed quite a lot. They've been trying to get up to date into fixing most of the stations. They are still busy. I think they are very well organized and up to speed with what's going on in the world. I would say they compare very well to other countries. It's your first world countries. Yeah, one compared to South Africa. But yeah, well, yeah, but I think they're very up to date with what they do and that they cater for everybody. And that's wonderful. I'm very impressed with it. Yeah.
Mhm. So, going deeper into your book structure and the style of your book, it reads very much like a tactical guide. And because it's very direct and very practical, the way you just present the information to your readers, was that an intentional stylistic choice on your part?
Yes, I want people to save time. I found it very difficult to navigate my way through that when I didn't understand the stations very well. And to save time, without having to take all those steps, those stairs, because it's very long hallways. There's a lot of steps up and down the whole time. You spend most of your time inside the station and busy sightseeing outside. So I
Mhm.
wanted to assist people so that they can spend less time inside and more upper ground and not below ground.
Mhm. And I think that's just exactly what a busy traveler needs. Something that's very easy to use and very direct, right? And
Yeah,
what I also like about your book is that you didn't just map out the stations, but you included nearby attractions, public toilets, and even specific exits. Now, how important are those micro details in travel planning?
I think it's important for people because, especially me, I'm very directionally challenged. Some stations have a lot of exits, six or more. It depends on which station you use. And if you take the wrong exit, your whole day will be spent trying to find your way to your attraction. If you take the correct exit, it's much easier to get where you want to be. Because if you get out of there, it's really a maze of streets, beautiful architecture. Paris is beautiful, but if you have limited time when traveling, you don't have time to go and search for which street you need to be in. So it's just to make it easy for them to just get out the correct exit and find your way to your attraction that you want to go to.
Mhm. So again, I think what you really want is for the main purpose of your book is really just for convenience and saving time and effort also on the traveler's part. So with the technology that's improving every day, we see transit apps improving every year too. What makes a physical or let's say even like a PDF guide like yours, because your book is also available as an ebook, still relevant?
Well, I love books. It's easier for me to have a book in my bag if I want to open it, if I'm lost somewhere, to go and trace back my steps. And sometimes, especially for South Africans, we don't have the means to buy data the whole time, or you don't have access to data or Wi-Fi. And it's easy to use the book because you don't need any data. You don't need to be connected to the internet to find your way somewhere. So I feel a book is a much better thing to have in your hand or in your bag while you sit at the cafe to just sip some more chocolate there, which is lovely, and
Mhm.
read the book and say, okay, now maybe I'll try this attraction or I might try that. And it's all in one place. You don't
Mhm.
have to go. wonder what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
That might give you a guideline of what to do, your what to go and see with your next trip, or if you've got some time to spare, which is yeah not easy in Paris. Yeah, then you can see, okay, this is available and it's an activity that you can do with a wheelchair or take your wheelchair bound parent or whoever to that place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's also an advantage to, using a physical book, right? Because you can earmark some parts of it, those that you would like to go back to later on. You can put some notes, you can highlight stuff and all that. So for some people who are still, well, what they call old school, that would be a lot, it's going to be a better option for them than using an app. But because of how detailed your book is, there are questions if you plan to perhaps someday update your book as new metro lines open or accessibility features are added.
There is a few lines that they working on at the moment, four of the metro lines. It's a lot of work that went into this book, a lot of frustration, a lot of tears and anger and yeah, and love, most of all love. I might maybe later, as soon as the other four metro stations are finished, because then I'm sure a lot of the other stations will have been upgraded as well. So it
Mhm.
will be good to have an add-on later for people that would love to see more of Paris, yeah. And it's much faster trains than new four metros that they're busy setting up. So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Mhm. How about turning your book into a mobile app or an interactive map in the future? Do you see that happening? Like, let's say if there are offers to turn your book into mobile app perhaps or an interactive map, do you think you would, agree to that?
I would agree if somebody else does it, because if I do it, they'll end up in Germany or another country, definitely not Paris. Yeah. Because yeah, near. But I think that would be a great idea.
Mm, yeah. So earlier you started talking about your experience when you were writing the book. A lot of love, a lot of tears, anger, and all that. So it's really not easy publishing a book, writing it and publishing it. How long did it take you to finish everything? Because we also have to consider how rich and information your book is.
I was quite surprised. I think because I loved it so much. It was a lot of hours I put in every day, maybe 12 to 16 hours. It was so enjoyable. I didn't actually see what time it was. That's the problem when you write. You just sit and write the whole time and do your research. You take a few breaks in between because mentally it's very straining. But it took me 8 months, which is actually for me, I think that's wonderful.
Right.
It
Yeah.
would take me years to do, yeah. Because to
Mhm.
keep up to date with what it was showing me now, it was important to get it finished as soon as possible before it changes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the kind of dedication that you put into it, I mean, I think that's also a big factor as to why it's a whole lot faster than people would think, to get the book done. So your book has been out for a few months now. What's the most unforgettable feedback or review that you've received?
I think to see the surprise on people's faces when they have this book and realize how, if you see it's not a tiny book, it's quite big and it's, yeah, a lot of pages. It's about 192 pages. And to see, see that it's done and say, wow, it's so detailed and there's so much info in here. They don't realize what I was doing here for 8 months and not ignoring everybody else. So my family and friends were quite surprised at how detailed it was and that I did it. Yeah, but I did it.
Must be a very proud moment for you. What
Yeah.
advice can you give writers who are also working on their first book?
Well, what I've thought for myself is you're not just a writer, you are a reader too. You're a reader first, actually. So you write the book that you want to read yourself. So they must write the way that they would like to read the book. You write from your heart, the way that you understand the book, because a lot of people will understand it the same way as you did. So I think that's quite important. Read from your heart, not what you think your mind tells you. Yeah, and talk to your book. I did that a few times. I said, what do you want me to do next? Yeah, talk
Mm.
to it. Even if somebody thinks you're a bit crazy like I am, it doesn't matter. Talk to it.
Mhm. Maybe it will make things easier for you if you actually, talk to your book like you did, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you ask you, what do you want me to do? What do you need? What does people
Mm-hmm.
need? Have a conversation with your book, even if it sounds crazy, but have a conversation to it and listen to what your gut is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And that would guide you. Well, it guided me quite a lot, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
So what's next for your book goals? What are you do you have other books that you're working on right now, or are you concentrating on promoting this book for now?
The Yeah, to work on this book, it's quite a lot of work to have it out there and to make people aware of it. It's quite time consuming, but there are other books that I'm wanting to write, but it's not a travel book at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
more children's book, but yeah,
Oh.
they'll have to wait and see what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind that I'm a nurse, so it will be to help children in a certain way, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
they'll see that when it comes.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. So, Sharon, for someone visiting Paris for the first time, and they might possibly be overwhelmed because they haven't seen any other city like that. What's your top tip to avoid frustration with the transport system?
The trains are the best way of transport. It's very clearly marked in Paris. It's color coded, like in my book. I've used very much the same color as that you get on the lines in Paris. It's the same color, very close. And take your time. Don't rush to your train because that train comes every 3 to 5 minutes.
Mm.
Don't
Okay.
break your legs trying to get to a train station. And there's a train station on every corner. If you've got the book, see which station you at. If you're not happy about the stairs or whatever, go to the next station. They're very close apart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so difficult. Just get on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And like my daughter and I got lost in Paris. It's like that song from Bonnie Tyler that said, I was lost in France. Yes, we got lost in Paris at night and it
Mm-hmm.
was raining. What you do, you go, try to get the nearest train station, get on the train. If you know which line you need to take, it's so easy to just take the train to the line or the station where you want to go. Paris is very detailed in their train stations. It's much easier to just get on a train than trying to walk those streets because you'll walk in circles.
Mm-hmm.
Just get on a train and go back to wherever you need. As long as you know which line you're on, wherever it's close to your hotel, you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and enjoy it. It's wow. Paris is wow.
Mhm. Okay. So having done research on the Paris transit, if you could improve one thing about the Paris transit system overnight, what would it be and why?
I would like them to put more ramps in. A ramp where you can push a wheelchair or your suitcase trolley or your prams, wheelchairs, whatever you need to push. And especially for me, it's easier to walk down a ramp or up a ramp with my crutches than trying to do the stairs. Because a lot of the times with Paris, the lifts or the escalators are out of order. especially the smaller stations. And if they had much more ramps, it would be easy for everybody to access the train. So ramps would be a great idea.
Mhm. Yes, just to make it more convenient for
Yes,
those.
for everybody. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, much
Okay.
better.
So to close, Sharon, please invite our viewers and listeners to connect with you through your social media, and then let them know where they can get a copy of your book.
I've got a TikTok account. It's called Ravens Road Tips. It's about Paris and the train stations and stuff. They can go on there, Ravens Road Trips, or they can find my book on Amazon, on Balboa's website as well. And Barnes and Noble also has it. And then I've got a book fair in the next one will be, sorry, the next one will be in London in March next year, the
Mhm.
London Book Fair. And then the Beijing International Book Fair in June, and then the US Book Show in June as well, in New York. My book will be available there as well. Yeah,
Mhm. Wow. Exciting
yeah,
times ahead for you, Sharon. Thank you so
yes.
much for sharing your insights today. Your tips for navigating Paris makes travel feel accessible, practical, and like you've said, even fun. For everyone watching and listening, don't forget to grab a copy of Timeless Travel in Paris by Sharon du Toit. It's available in paperback, hardcover, and ebook formats on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Balboa Press online bookstore, and other major resellers. So remember to get this practical guide and make your Paris adventure easier and more enjoyable. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Author Roundup.